Good morning. I'm Liz Davis. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a member of this fellowship, serving as your worship leader today. I am terrible. Start over again. I am terrible at gratitude. I know all about the research that says taking note of what you're grateful for is good for us. I can't tell you how many times I have started a gratitude list and tried to keep it going. Don't get me wrong, I have so much to be grateful for. I have an amazing husband, loving and kind children, and a wonderful UUFRC spiritual family that is both supportive and inspiring. But when I sit down to make the list, it ends up being the same list over and over. It starts to feel trite and repetitive. And then I end up feeling bad about myself for being bad at gratitude. So when I saw the worship theme for November, I panicked a little. How was I going to talk about gratitude when I'm kind of a gratitude failure? A month ago, I set off on a trip of a lifetime, a cruise from Istanbul to Athens with my husband and my 80-year-old aunt. On the very last day of the cruise, in a small town outside of Athens, my aunt fell and broke her femur. We ended up in a local hospital where she needed emergency surgery, and I stayed extra to care for her and help her get back to New York City. It was a very stressful experience. She was in pain, the nurses didn't speak much English, and I felt helpless and scared. I truly thought I'd never get home. But in the middle of all that chaos, I noticed something surprising. I started finding things to be grateful for. At least it happened on the last day of the cruise, so we didn't miss anything. At least we were docked and I didn't have to get back to the ship by a certain time. At least the locals were helpful. Thank goodness for the Greek woman who stopped to help us, called the ambulance, and guided us to the best hospital nearby. And at least the neighborhood near the hospital was safe, and I found an Airbnb just a few blocks away. I realized that I tend to do this when things get hard. Find the silver linings in the moment, the small mercies that make an overwhelming situation just a little more bearable. And as I reflected on that, I recognized something else. I also do this when I look back on the hard things that have happened to me in my life. Noticing silver linings isn't just how I cope in the moment, it's how I make meaning out of what has come before. My first marriage was very difficult. But if I hadn't experienced life with my first husband, I don't think I would have been open to the amazing man I have now, who happens to be running video in the loft at this very moment. I love you, honey. That first failure allowed something even better to come along. I had 2 miscarriages before I had children. At the time, it was extremely painful. I was so sad, I thought I would never have kids. But I did eventually, and they wouldn't be here today if the first 2 had lived. And those losses gave me so much empathy for others who have struggled with fertility. So maybe that's my version of gratitude. Not for everything being perfect, but for the small mercies that make the hard things bearable. And I wonder if I can practice that in everyday life more often, to notice the at least, the quiet blessings that soften life's edges. My trip might have ended in a stressful and scary way, but at least it gave me something to share with you today. And for that small blessing, I am truly grateful. Thank you.
At this time, please join me in the spirit of addressing the sacred as I read a prayer of praise and thanks written by Reverend Tess Baumberger. The prayer will be followed by some moments of silence, and during that time, I'm going to head upstairs to join the choir for special music. And here's the prayer. O divine Spirit, healer of our hurts, consoler of our sorrows, vibrant light of happiness, birther of all life and gentle way of death, hear our prayer. We raise our hearts to you, as do the ancient redwoods, rooted in the ground, swaying in the wind. We praise and thank you for our lives, gifts of body and essence, strength to bear life's burdens, grace to dance life's joys. We praise and thank you for our lives, gift of eyes and heart that fill with beauty smiling, or with pain and sadness weeping. We praise and thank you for our lives, gift of our voices to sing out praises, to speak our truths and visions, to share ourselves with others. We praise and thank you for our lives, gifts of ears to hear words of grace and wisdom, to listen to and lighten the burdens of others. We praise and thank you for our lives, gifts of all of our senses, rhythm of our heartbeat, rise and fall of our breathing, the will to live with passion, serenity, joy. Spirit, guide us to a deeper knowing of your presence in the world. Show us the fuller meanings of the patterns of our years. Help us regard ourselves and others with eyes of calm compassion. Teach us to learn patience with their failings and with our own. Help us accept the mold and fashion of our lives through marching years. In the names of all who perceive your transcendent presence in trees and brooks and mountains, in work and play and resting, in all moments and places between. Amen, and blessed be.